Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you some different ways that you can make yourself invisible. So the first way to do this is through something called an invisibility shield. So what this shield does is basically just spread out light in the horizontal direction. And that doesn't sound like much, but what that can do essentially is make something that only takes up a small portion of that screen, the light gets spread out so much that you can't see it anymore. For example, let's take this broom. If I take this broom and move it behind it, you can totally see it. But if I turn it like this, you can't see it at all. But notice how you can still see the background of the garage here. So the invisibility shield works by putting it in front of it, and any light that comes off of it that would have hit the eye gets spread out in a lot of different directions. And so the amount of light that hits the eye is actually very minimal. So you don't see a bright purple ball here, but you kind of see this dim purple stretched across the whole screen. And if your background is bright enough, then you won't even notice this dim purple line stretched across the screen. So basically it makes this become invisible. For example, you can see that if I take my laser light here and I shine it on the back, there's only one small dot. But if I run it through the invisibility shield, what it does is it makes it turn into a line now. So it spreads that light out everywhere. So the next method to make this ball become invisible is to take the light that would have hit it and block the background and bend it around it and then make that go straight to the eye. Now it is actually possible to do something like this using a series of lenses. Okay, so let me show you what happens here. So first the light is coming in parallel, and then it goes through this first lens and it converges into one focal point here. And then it keeps diverging and hits this second lens. So everything's invisible except right at the center there. But then as you keep going, in order for the background to not look distorted, you have to recorrect the light that you made diverge right there. But the problem is that the image is now flipped 180 degrees. And so you have to flip it back. So then it goes through these next two lenses to straighten out the light and flip the image so that the background looks completely normal. So notice when I set these four lenses up at the correct lengths, it keeps the background intact. But look what happens when I put it about right here. Whoa. So here's the background. You can see no tricks here. I say the magic words, bippity, boppity, boop, and it becomes invisible. Now the next way to make this invisible is to do the most obvious thing. If you don't want this person to see this purple dot here, just color everything purple. And then you can't see the purple dot. Now unfortunately in a room with shadows, you can still see it because the purple is going to be brighter or darker depending on how far or close it is away from the light source. But if you use something that has very little reflection, then it doesn't matter how much light is being shined on it. So using the darkest material in the world, I was able to make myself look invisible if the background was also the darkest material in the world. Now the final way to make this look invisible is to have it be made of something that doesn't bend or absorb any light coming in from behind it. So essentially the light from behind it just passes straight through. So this liquid is glycerin and its refractive index is very close to the glass, and so you can barely see it at all. Now the con of this last method is that you have to actually manipulate your thing that you're trying to hide. So you would never be able to hide yourself because you can't change your own refractive index. So you can see there are pros and cons to all of these different methods to make yourself invisible. With the invisibility shield, it only hides things really well that are vertical, and you have to be a little bit ways away from it, not close to it. With the invisibility lens setup, you'll notice that you can't have invisibility right in the center of the lens. And the invisibility area is only in between the lens setup, so it's not very versatile. And then you have the disguising method where you try to make yourself blend into the background. And that's difficult because as your background changes, you continually have to change what you look like in order to hide yourself. So you can see that we have a long ways to go before we can actually get an invisibility cloak like you see on Harry Potter. And thanks for watching another episode of the Action Lab. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet and hit the bell so you can be notified when I release my latest video. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.